Hi, y'all. My name is Emily, and Miss Emily asked me to talk to y'all about my trip to Nepal. Um, and kind of how I came about it, and why I went there. Well, I didn't know about it until I was going to go on a mission trip to Guatemala with the psychology department and at Charleston Southern. Um, and That didn't work out, and so my teacher said, "Well, I know about one that's going to Nepal. Here's his information." And his name was Dr. Naylor, and he was looking for an intern to pretty much plan the whole trip. And I'm like, I don't know all about that, but I went back and prayed about it, and I really wanted to go on a mission trip overseas. I'd never been out of the country before, so it was something I've always wanted to do, and after praying about it, it just felt right. Like, this is what I should do, and this is how I should go about it. And so for and so I started interning in the fall. So like started in early September or mid September, and the trip wasn't until May. So for that entire fall semester from September to December, I planned a mission trip overseas, and um, that involved a lot of paperwork and a lot of planning and a lot of emailing back and forth with our missionaries over in Nepal. We went with these two missionaries who live in Kathmandu, which is the capital. Uh, to give you some reference, if you heard anything about the earthquakes over there that happened a couple months ago, that's where I was, and well, and my team. That's where our team was, and that's where those missionaries are still in Kathmandu. Um, we were contacting them, their family with two kids, really sweet family. They work for the International Mission Board, so you may have heard about that at your church. And so we were contacting them. They were asking us, well, what did we want to do as far as mission work? What are your plans? And being a study abroad trip slash mission trip, half of the trip had to be educational in some aspect. So the students who went on the trip, including myself, had to do a PowerPoint on the culture of Nepal, on some aspect of the culture. And then the other half of the trip would be focused on mission. And I knew that going in. I was really looking for something more, that's all I would do was missions work. But I did like the balance of let's learn about the culture, let's learn about this people, and then also do mission work. So in our days in Kathmandu looked like looked like this. We'd get up, we'd eat breakfast, we would go, our missionaries would take us to a temple or a historic site, or one day we went to a field to see how most Nepali people, or Nepalese, I think it's either way, um, most of the people of Nepal, how they live and work, those in the country versus those in the city. We stayed in the city, and many of those people are business people. They have shops and um, businesses there. Those in the country do more field work, so we got to experience both. And then and then we'd go, and after that we'd go back, eat lunch, and then we would head off to this school. And this school, whose name is very hard to pronounce, and it's like 4 words long. And, um, it was a great school. I just would not be able to tell you the name of it correctly, but um, they were a Buddhist school in the city of Nepal. It's a private boarding school. So some of the children live there, some of them live in the area, but it's mostly a boarding school. And we would go there and we would do a VBS. So much of like what y'all are doing now is what we would do. And the day was when we got there, they were having lunch or a snack or something. Um, and then we would start our day, and they would transition from doing a craft time to a Bible study to games, and they would rotate. We had all the ages. Well, we would have like the younger kids someday, like we would have the younger kids like 2 or 3 days, and then we'd have the older kids like 2 or 3 days, and they interchanged. Um, so we had all age groups from itty bitty. I can't see where my hand is. From 3 years old, I think was the youngest, and they were so cute. To the oldest, which was I think 15 or 16 were the oldest, and that's where they stopped high school. So if you're in Nepal and you're 15 or 16, you go off to college. It's a little different than the U.S., but it still works. um, and that was our day. We'd do some studying in the morning, and then missions work in the afternoon. We'd be there for like 4 or 5 hours, until dinner time, really. And we told them about God. We presented the gospel from Genesis to Revelation, pretty much. Um, we started with the creation story, and then we would talk to them about the birth of Jesus, and then who Jesus is, and he died and rose again. And it was really neat, because they came from such a different background, and they would ask us questions. Most of them could speak English very well. The younger ones not so much, but they teach English in their school. It was a really great experience. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved getting to know the culture. I loved getting to eat different foods and wear different clothes. Right now I'm wearing what's called a kurta. It's a tunic. It's got longer sleeves, and the shirt actually goes past my hips, almost fingertip length, and they're very lightweight, so it's very comfortable. But getting to know the people and their culture, and seeing why they do things, how they grew up, how they learn, because you can't talk to them as far as how you would probably talk to your friend or something like that. It's a more respect type thing, and I think that was interesting, because you respect your friends just as much as you respect your elders. I mean, most of the time. But getting to know why they believe what they believe, and seeing how they live differently was really cool. I wouldn't trade the experience for the world. I'm really glad I went. And like I said, when I decided to go on this trip, there is a peace, there is a contentness that I just felt in my heart, that God was saying, this is right, this is what you should do. And I fell in love with them and the country, and I pray for them all the time. It broke my heart when the earthquake hit, because I have friends over there, our interpreters, because we didn't learn a whole lot of the language. It's a very hard language to learn. But our interpreters were there to help us, and they taught us how to greet people and how to approach people and how to interact with others. Much of that I can't really remember too much of how. I know you're very respectful, but yeah. it If you ever get the opportunity to go on any kind of mission trip, whether it's across the street or across the world, it's something you have to pray and seek God about. Mission trips is something I've always loved. Being in GAs, when I was younger, really encouraged the want to do missions, and um, it wasn't talked about as much in youth group. We went on a mission trip within our city, but part of me always yearned to go and experience something different. So as soon as I got the chance in college, I was wanting to go, and had I gone without approaching God about it first, I'm sure it wouldn't have gone the same. But because God was in it, God was there, God's everywhere, but He blessed that decision. It made me so much more excited about missions, because that internship not just only prepared me to go on a mission trip, it prepared me how to go about setting it up. I didn't just learn to do a mission trip. I learned how to plan for a mission trip months in advance. I learned how to buy tickets, how to email across the world. I learned how to approach the International Mission Board about wanting to go overseas and work with their missionaries. And it was a wonderful experience. It's a one in a lifetime. Like I said, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's been by far my favorite mission trip I've ever been on, because it was so different, and I loved the people. I loved the missionaries we worked with. I loved sharing Christ with those who don't know, and we all need to feel that way. As Christians, we're called to go and do, and whether it's across the street or across the world, that's our mission, is to go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them the way they should go. And I pray all the time that what I did over there, or rather what God did over there through me, because it was nothing that I did, it was all God's hand in everything we did. And I pray all the time that God used that time to show these kids that I talked with that there is something more than what they're living. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to go, was besides wanting to just go on a mission trip, I wanted to share Christ with others. I wanted to share God's love with others and have them see that through me. That's something I hadn't really experienced before as far as another culture. I'd experienced it some, serving in other places and going with my church, to serve doing like park ministries and other little small mission things within our city, but I'd never shared my faith across the globe. And I really wanted to do that, and I wanted the opportunity. So as soon as it came, I was like, God, please let me go. And He said go, and I went and I learned, and I had a great time. I saw things I will probably never see again. I did things I'll probably never do again. I'll probably never get to walk through those temples. I'll never probably see those children again. I hope I see them in heaven. I hope a seed was planted in their hearts because of what God did. Excuse me, of what God did. But my prayer is that those kids know Christ and come to know Christ through our work there. The cool thing about that trip is that the school we went into had never been approached by those missionaries before. When they're normally working with the Sherpas in the Himalayan mountains, and that's the husband. The wife is usually working with the Tibetan women and teaching them how to be healthy, how to cook healthier, and take care of their families and their kids, and how to have a business through making bracelets and baking cookies, and how to turn that into a business. They had never really approached the idea of doing a VBX, but they had a great time too and made new relationships. And hopefully people who came after us got a chance to experience those kids too. So that's Nepal. Hopefully that answers all your questions. And I pray that you will pray for Nepal. It is a very lost country, but it's a very beautiful and I think very open country in some aspects. I don't think the government is open to Christianity, but the people would probably be. And that's why those missionaries are there, are to share the gospel with those people. Um, and they're doing a wonderful job, and I pray that you'll pray for them. I can't say their name because of where they are, but they are in Nepal. And so if you ever think of Nepal, see Nepal on a map, it's a little small country that, kind of looks like that, little rectangle. Um, and it has Mount Everest in it, so that's kind of cool. So whenever you think of Mount Everest or Nepal, pray for um, the missionaries over there because they're hurting right now with all the chaos with the earthquakes and the aftermath of that. But they feel very blessed to still be able to serve in their country because most of them have returned. After the earthquakes hit, they went to another country for a few weeks till things got settled, and then they came back and are ready to serve and are happy to serve and are excited about what God has for the Nepali people. So I pray that you will pray for them, and I hope you'll have a great time in Vacation Bible School this week. Have fun, y'all. Maybe I'll see y'all soon. Who knows? All right. Bye, guys.